Update, brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio's Update with Andy Wint.
Passpor, good evening. It's 5:30. This is Update for Wednesday, 12th of July, 2023 from Manx Radio. 30 minutes to look at the latest news on the Isle of Man. Background to that, news and sport and business and Sea Watch and travel updates. And the newsmakers in person this evening. Southern 100 has been cancelled after the fatalities. The latest from the Island Games in Guernsey. What is the Tynwald Recess for? Payoff were rejected, so the nurses are marching next week, and the passport office can't guarantee 20-day delivery.
Man Benham for all your business and legal needs.
First of all, at 29 minutes ahead of 6 o'clock, the Update News headlines. Fastamai, Siobhan Fletcher.
Fastamai. A road closure put in place following a fatal racing incident on the Southern 100 course is expected to be lifted in the next half an hour. It had been due to reopen at 4 p.m, but the Department of Infrastructure gave permission for the Castletown bypass to stay closed until 6 p.m, whilst police continued their investigations. As a result of that incident, the remainder of this year's Southern 100 has been cancelled. The decision has been made by organisers after 2 men were killed during last night's practice session. A rider and a marshal died following a crash. Further details have not yet been released. And following the announcement of that cancellation, Castle Rushen High School has announced it will be open as normal all day tomorrow. Bus Vannin has confirmed the buses will pick up as usual at the end of the school. Further afield, around 1 million people in the UK can expect their mortgage repayments to go up over the next 3 years by as much as £500 a month. BBC colleagues have urged an unnamed presenter accused of paying a teenager for explicit images to speak out. And the first 50 asylum seekers have arrived at a temporary accommodation at a former airbase in Essex. They're your headlines. News at 6.
Man Benham. Contact us by phone, video call, email or face-to-face. We're happy to connect with you. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Goramaya, thank you, Siobhan. From the Ronaldsway Met Office, there was a strong wind warning locally earlier on. That seems to be dissipating now. State of sea is currently slight, cloudy this evening. Perhaps some late sunny spells too once the rain was blown away on a moderate westerly, and then dry and partially cloudy overnight. Minimum temperature 12 degrees. For Jardine, Thursday, dry with sunny spells, a moderate westerly backing southwesterly, and up to 18 degrees. Cloud will thicken tomorrow evening after dark ahead of a spell of rain, and we're down to 14 through the night. Into Jehenya, a cloudy start for Friday with rain from late morning on a moderate southerly backing to a strong southeasterly later in the afternoon. Daylight maximum 18 degrees. Tides on the way back in. High water's 24 minutes past 8. Sunset 13 minutes to 10 tonight. Low water 25 to 3 a.m. Sunrise 2 minutes past 5. And high water tomorrow morning at 20 to 9 here at the home of the Halfway Horse Tram.
Manx Glass and Glazing can produce bespoke splashbacks for your kitchen in any colours. Speak to the team on 674 573.
The 2023 Southern 100 road race has been cancelled. It follows a fatal racing incident which took place on the Ballown course last night. The story from Tessa Hawley.
The decision to end the event before any racing had taken place comes after 2 men, a marshal and a rider, were killed in last night's practice session. The fatal crash happened just before 7 p.m. in the area between the start line and the junction of the bypass with Arbury Road. Today, the clerk of the course said he'd taken the decision to cancel the last 2 days of the meeting due to the ongoing police investigations, adding that this continues to be the priority. Officers from the Isle of Man Constabulary's Collision Investigation Unit spent last night and all of today working at the scene. The stretch of road on the Castletown bypass remains closed, with that closure between Maloo Street and Ballackagan Corner extended until 6 o'clock. Members of the motorsport community have been expressing their condolences. Sidecar racer John Holden tweeted, saying, "My heart goes out to everyone involved in the tragic incident." Fellow racer Alan Founds added, "Sad day here on the island, and our thoughts are with everyone involved. As gutted as we are not to be racing, we respect the decision made." Police have asked any members of the public who were watching the racing last night and who saw what happened to get in touch with them. They also want to see video footage of the incident. And anyone affected by what happened was invited to attend Castletown Civic Centre today, where police and staff from Manx Care were on hand to provide help and support. You can find more details of that assistance at manxradio.com.
High-speed craftman Anna left earlier on today. She came back and she's gone again. There was a medical emergency on board. Details of all steam packet sailings on the way. Next week, Tynwald will sit for the final time before the annual summer recess. Between July and October, no Tynwald, no House of Keys or Ledgeco sessions. It's thought the recess was originally added to the parliamentary calendar to allow farmers in Keys and Ledgeco to tend to the harvest. But in 2023, is it still relevant? Is it still needed? John Moss.
A report from the Standing Orders Committee prompted a substantial Tynwald debate in May. It led to worries from some Tynwald members that the public might regard this as navel-gazing. A number of the near 20 recommendations were rejected, including that Tynwald shouldn't sit during half-term holidays and that the court should continue sitting until the end of September. Here are some of those views.
It's a strange time to be debating the internal workings of Tynwald, and maybe viewed by people listening from the outside that we are in some way navel-gazing. What I'd like to point out that this is for the more effective work of democracy going forward, and to make sure that this honourable court can function in an efficient and productive way. I would, though, like some further clarification about the starred questions. I don't think personally this is necessary. I think we're reacting to a current issue where perhaps it can be perceived that one or two members are disproportionately asking questions of ministers. That is their right.
So I've written to the committee on a number of occasions about what I regard as sort of perhaps the unfairness of the current system, where a single questioner can effectively drown out another member by having so many multiple questions put down. And perhaps an individual who doesn't ask so many questions or feels that they have one single important question can find themselves lost. So and in many ways I'm actually delighted that the committee's addressed this.
I just don't see why you need to broaden the session of Tynwald in the way that is defined there to achieve the other points. But also, I just don't think it's healthy as a machine, whether you're, to just constantly keep going. I think that there are times when actually you do need to be away from Tynwald. There are times when you need to, reconnect with the real world, reconnect with the constituency, reconnect with all the other things that are going on in this job.
I actually happen to welcome the change to sitting dates and timings. I think these changes indicate a modernisation of our working practices.
Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates.
The Isle of Man's medal tally is 9 gold, 7 silver and 14 bronze medals at the Island Games. And a look at the Manx action so far today. Our sports editor Rob Pritchard on the spot in Guernsey.
In archery, Rees-Moore won silver in the men's compound head-to-head knockout competition. He beat Jersey's Francisco Rocker in the semi-finals, but lost out on gold to Nickel Peterson of the Faroe Islands in the final. Aileen George finished 4th in the women's event. It's been a strong day for Manx racket sports. Catherine Venus took bronze in the women's table tennis, and Jessica Lees made it into the women's badminton final. On the tennis court, Anna Kirk beat top-seeded Svetlina Havran from Gotland to book a place in the women's semi-finals. Sarah Long and Karen Farragher have made it into the women's doubles semis, and there are 2 Manx teams through to the mixed doubles semis. In cycling, at the men's road race earlier, Mark Hosthouse was with the leaders for much of the race, but it wasn't to be. He finished 10th with 2 more Manx riders in the top 20. I spoke to Mark afterwards.
Guernsey done a fantastic job of hosting this Island Games, but there's like hundreds of thousands of people out on the circuit today, particularly on the climbs when you really need people barking at you to get you shifted up the climbs. No, it was brilliant, and even on this kind of finish area here, like wall to wall, people could barely hear yourself think at times. So it really motivates you to dig deep and empty yourself out there.
Elsewhere today, the Manx men's basketball team had their first win of the games. They beat the Falkland Islands 110 points to 58. The women's team played tonight against Menorca. Also tonight, there's Manx action at the the athletics in long jump, discus and a host of running events. And in the pool, swimmers including Laura Kinley, Joel Watson and Peter Allen have all qualified for finals.
Nurses on the Isle of Man will march through the streets of Douglas next week in a protest over pay. The Royal College of Nursing Union is holding a peaceful protest on Tuesday, which will start at Nobles Hospital, go via Tynwald and end in Villiers Square. It's in response to the RCN's rejection of the latest pay offer proposed by Manx Care. Senior Regional Officer for the union, Mary Ann Parkinson.
We are very, very sad and very disappointed that we've had to go down this route, but the members on the island are genuinely concerned for the members of the public with respect to safe staffing and effective care with the current staff that they've got and the difficulties around the recruitment and retention. Pay is only one part of it, but it's a significant part on the island because of the cost of living and the way of getting round. People haven't got choices, so if they come over, we're going to have to make it more inviting. And that's why we met with the MHKs last week to sort of work with them around the infrastructure and the other councils of ministers to see, what can we do. We really do want to work with Manx Care, but they're telling us that their purse is empty now. They can't offer any more, and the government haven't issued them with any additional funding. So we unfortunately have had to take this action. People can only attend if they're not allocated to work. It's not strike action, so it's a protest march. So it's anybody who is free at the time to come and attend. We're unsure. We're hoping to get sort of 50 to 100, but we're not sure. We have invited our other staff side organisations and members of the public if anybody wants to come and join us, but it is a peaceful protest. We've always had disputes which usually have been resolved in arbitration. We've never managed to get a pay award done in the time. We have never, ever resorted to this form of action. So the membership are very, very clear and passionate about what they're saying is, no, enough's enough. So did we see it coming? We knew there was unrest. Did we know that there was this much passion and drive to take this kind of action? We didn't until we took the survey and the ballot.
Sea Watch with the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company.
Mothership Ben McCree left Heysham at 2:30. She won't be into Douglas for at least another half hour or so. Just after 6:15, then onto the Lynx Band, departing this evening at 7:45, back to Heysham at 11:30. The overnight departure 2:15, back to Douglas at 6 tomorrow morning. High-speed craft Manannan left Douglas on time at 3:15, but there was a medical emergency on board, so she came back and departed at 14 minutes past 4. She won't be in Liverpool till about 7 o'clock. Scheduled departure 7:15 from Liverpool, but that will run later. They'll try and turn around as quickly as possible and hopefully be back shortly after 10 o'clock. Tomorrow morning's departures: Manannan departs Douglas for Liverpool at 7:15 a.m. and Ben McCree to Heysham at 8:45.
Follow the Steam Packet on Twitter for the latest sailing information.
The Passport Office says it can't currently guarantee the standard 20-day delivery of the Isle of Man variant of the British passport because of unprecedented demand. The story from Siobhan Fletcher.
Back in April, island residents were warned to get their applications in as early as possible due to pressure on the service, and it appears this demand has not eased. On Monday, Manx Radio received an email into our Man and Line programme from a father who sent an application in for his newborn baby over 30 days previously. He claimed he was told last Friday that the Passport Office didn't have any passports available and an additional charge will now be incurred on top of the original cost of the passport to sort out the issue. We put these queries to the Passport Office and received this response from government. During this time, customers are encouraged to submit passport applications as early as possible, as the express and emergency travel document applications will take priority over the standard service. All applications for Isle of Man variant British passports are processed on island and are printed and dispatched by commercial suppliers from the United Kingdom. Emergency travel documents will continue to be delivered within 24 hours or one working day. Express service will continue to be processed by the Isle of Man Passport passport office within 5 working days, and standard service has seen the highest increase in applications, resulting in this service taking longer than 20 working days.
Manx Radio Business Briefing.
At 16 minutes before 6, language, content and IP specialist RWS Holdings announced the acquisition of Propylon Holdings for €30.1 million today. Propylon's based in Dublin and offers a component content management system used by governments, standards bodies, legal publishers and regulated firms to simplify the complexities involved in drafting, managing, publishing and updating legal and legislative content. The board said the acquisition would enable RWS to enhance its integrated localization capabilities and serve a broader range of clients. And for a full daily market report, go to ramseycrookall.com. A new global motor company is being launched by Renault and Geely and will have its headquarters in the UK. The firms will invest up to €7 billion, £6 billion to develop low-emission petrol, diesel and hybrid engines. They'll employ 19,000 workers at 17 engine factories and 5 research and development hubs. The deal comes even though much of global motor industry is shifting its focus to developing electric vehicles. French giant Renault and the Chinese outfit Geely said the new company will use its UK headquarters to consolidate operations, build on synergies and define future plans. The new firm will be launched later this year and will supply engines to Volvo, Nissan and Mitsubishi amongst others. If the name Geely doesn't ring a bell, it's the company that bought the London taxi company in 2013.
The Stock Market Report. Brought to you by Ramsey Crookall.
UK and European markets closed higher. The dollar fell after data showed the rise in US consumer prices eased in June. Oil benchmark Brent rose and gold extended gains. The numbers from Ramsey Crookall at the close in London. The FTSE 100 is up 1 8/10% at 7,416. The DAX in Frankfurt closed up 1.5% at 16,025. A short time ago, New York City, the Dow Jones Industrial up 2/3% at 34,494. The Nasdaq Tech Stocks Index up almost 1 2/10% at 13,923. And the S&P 500 in Chicago up 9/10% at 4,479. In the exchange markets, the British pound sterling is trading at $1 29.8 cents, €1 16.7 cents, and 23 South African rand 62.4 cents. In commodities, gold's up 1 2/10% at $1,954 per troy ounce, and a barrel of Brent crude up nearly 0.75% at $79.92.
You've got an investment plan?
Yeah, Mike set it up.
But don't you need loads of money to do that?
Not this one. It's called Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, and you pay in monthly as little as £100. So it's like saving regularly, really helping us invest in the future. For a house, or the kids' education.
£100 a month? I could easily do that.
You should. The sooner you start, the better.
Invest in your future with as little as £100 a month. Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, the island's investment specialist for 75 years. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Delegates from around the world have been arriving on the Isle of Man for the small country's financial management programme. 24 officials representing finance ministries, central banks and regulatory bodies are taking part from as far afield as the Caribbean, Pacific region, Indian Ocean and Africa. Founder of the Small Countries Financial Management Centre is Tim Cullen.
We bring together a really tremendous group of people to teach this year it's 24 people actually have accepted 24 participants on this year's programme from a total of 19 countries. One of the reasons we set it up was because we looked at what was available for people from small countries being offered by the World Bank and the IMF, who have an institute to teach people. The trouble is small countries people would find themselves sitting between someone from Brazil and somebody from Kazakhstan. Got totally different issues. And the great thing about it is the sort of eureka moment when they all get together and discover, gosh, there's somebody in Samoa who has the same problems as me in Barbados. That's a really magical moment for us.
Now, I understand tribute will be paid this year to Mark Shimin, MBE, the executive director of the programme, who sadly died recently.
Yeah, Mark was quite remarkable. He succeeded me as executive director when we first started it, and after I'd done it for a few years. And he was incredibly committed to it. I can disclose that he refused to accept the amount of money we offered to pay him, which was not very much anyway, and he charged us a lot less than he should have done because he wanted to help the program. So he's a great loss, very, very sad for all of us, and it casts a shadow over the program, although we look to this program as celebrating his life as well.
Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio Sport.
Faster by Rhiann Evans.
Faster my good afternoon. Starting in hockey, Manx hockey player Sienna Dunn has led the England under-18 side to victory in the latest matchup in the under-18s Euros. Bouncing back from their 1-0 loss against Holland, England ended up beating Austria with a whopping 9-0 scoreline. Dunn scored the opening goal with a converted penalty corner, which was later followed up by a penalty stroke. Tomorrow, England take on Spain, which Dunn's side need to win if they want to make it to the semi-finals. The Under-18s Euros is being held in Germany and concludes this weekend. And there's a continuous push to boost the number of male netballers on the Isle of Man. The men's team or teams, depending on numbers, will be included in the women's netball season, which begins in September and has matches every Sunday morning. There's also the opportunity to represent the Isle of Man in competitions, including Nationals, which is hosted by the England Men's and Mixed Netball Association every summer. Anyone over the age of 16 is welcome. No previous experience is necessary. Training is on at the NSC every Friday evening from 7 till 8. More information can be found on the Isle of Man Netball Facebook page.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Inbound at Ronaldsway, you know what's coming, don't you? The 5:25 Loganair from Manchester came in 10 minutes late. The 5:08 Loganair from Liverpool's on time. The 8:30 Loganair from London City on time. The 25:09 EasyJet from Gatwick currently 15 minutes late inbound. Outbound, the 6 o'clock Loganair to Liverpool's on time. The 9:05 EasyJet back to Gatwick, currently running 15 minutes late. Keep your fingers crossed. The Ballymena Road's got phase closures in Derby for that water main replacement. In Douglas, you got lights on Ballacabine Road for resurfacing. Tremode Road is reopened. There are temporary lights on Victoria Road at the Falconcliff Terrace junction for water main work, and in Boldrine, Packhorse Lane's closed for resurfacing. Temporary lights on Estdale Road, Onken, they're working on the pavements, and Groudle Road's closed between Harbour Road and Fairway, closed for gas upgrade work. Lattice Road, Andres, closed for resurfacing between the main road through the village and Larravane Meadow. Garth Road's closed between Tosselby Road and the Foxdale Road for bridge replacement work. And East Quay Peel closed between the House of Manannan and the Road Bridge, and Peel to Kirkmichael Coast Road's got phase closures. Temporary lights on Cumberland Road, Ramsey, and the Ballycollister Road Lax is closed between Crotty Quill Road and Rensall Hill.
H&H Motorcycles.im for all your motorcycle requirements. Southgate Industrial Estate, opposite Quayside Tyres. Call 665646.
4 students have been rewarded for their outstanding achievements as young people on the Isle of Man in the North American Manx Association Youth Awards. Among the winners, 10-year-old Scarlett Ratcliffe for her commitment to the Manx language and 13-year-old Fraser McKenna for his dedication to the Manx arts. Paul Crane MLC of the Department of Education, Sport and Culture opened the awards ceremony earlier this week.
Today I just want to offer 2 messages to the award winners. The first of them is well done. And I think for many young people and for many parents today, it's hard to hear the phrase well done and take it in. You have done well. Well done, all of you. And the second message is the idea that you can achieve more than you think possible. That, I think, is the most powerful message I came out of my education career with. You can do more than you think is possible. I think those of you receiving awards today already show that you're beginning to understand that. With the right mindset, there's nothing you cannot do, only things you cannot do yet. There's nothing you cannot do. The Manx North American Awards celebrate the outstanding achievements of young people in various areas of Manx culture, including language, arts, craft, music and dance. I'd like to extend my thanks to the North American Manx Association for continuing to recognise the achievements of the island's talented young people for another year. All of today's winners should be extremely proud of their accomplishments. They're a testament to the hard work and the passion they have shown for the island's rich culture.
The Isle of Man in 30 minutes. Update on Manx Radio with Andy Wint.
Fast am I. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You remember to like Manx Radio on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you use Twitter or LinkedIn, follow Manx Radio, and your Twitter or LinkedIn feed will tell you the moment the update podcast is published and available to listen to, usually within 30 minutes of the end of the programme. The Isle of Man's put in a bid to host the Island Games in 2029. The Education, Sport and Culture Minister Julie Edge is at the current Games in Guernsey, and while there she's been to the annual general meeting to put forward a plug to bring the Games back home.
We've already got amazing facilities, and certainly there'll be some improvement works to do, but beyond that we've got all the facilities we will need to host the Games for our island and give our islanders that opportunity for home games. Well, we've delivered it twice before, so certainly we've got the experience behind that. Obviously, we will put an organising committee together. That's already commencing, and it's a long lead in to get the Games to be the best that they will ever be, and we will be looking for a lot of volunteers and hopefully giving some of our athletes now 6 years out that opportunity to think they might be getting a home game. So certainly we've already put a proposal through Treasury and through the Council of Ministers, so we do have that already secured, and obviously it's 6 years out, and we will have to continuously have to look at that. Obviously there are already ongoing costs starting once you put your bid in, that you have to start the process, but certainly it was great to speak with the chair of the International Island Games Association today at lunchtime, and he certainly seemed very positive for the island, and hopefully we just want to bring those games home. We started the Games back in 85, so it's the 40th anniversary when it's in Orkney, I think is what they said today, so if we can get it after that, that'll be a great honour to bring it back to the island.
That's our update tonight, brought to you from the resources of Manx Radio's news department. Thanks to newsreader Siobhan Fletcher, producer Rhiann Evans. After the news at 6, the world of arts and Spotlight and Howie Kane and Mike Reynolds and the great hits at 6:30.
WINT